Welcome to Vivid English Podcast. Hello, everyone. I'm James.
And I'm Sarah. Hello, everyone.
It is absolutely fantastic to see you today. I have to ask, how is your week treating you so far?
You know, things are going really, really well. I've had such a productive week, lots of energy, and I have been looking forward to this specific discussion all morning. I am feeling ready. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. I'm actually really excited because today's topic is one of those things that sits right at the intersection of language, culture, and, well, psychology.
Oh, I completely agree.
It's something I think everyone deals with, but honestly, most people, especially from Western cultures, feel incredibly nervous about it.
So intimidating. And today we are going to look at the art of haggling.
Haggling. It is such a descriptive word. Some people might call it bargaining or, negotiating, but basically it's the dance of discussing the price of something to get a better deal.
Exactly. And our goal today is twofold. First, obviously, we want to help you, our listeners, save some hard-earned money. But secondly, and I think this is even more important, we want to help you interact with locals when you're traveling. Negotiating is actually a form of communication.
That is such a good point.
Yeah.
It isn't just about the money.
Yeah.
It's about the relationship and the conversation. So today, we're going to explore the specific vocabulary you need, but also the unwritten social rules for negotiation, specifically in Western countries where the rules might be a little different.
That sounds perfect. Where do we begin?
Okay, let's get started with the rules of the game. Because before we even open our mouths, we need to know the landscape.
Right.
Specifically, where and when is it actually okay to haggle? Because I assume there are boundaries.
This is so important. Context is everything. You absolutely cannot haggle everywhere.
I can imagine.
If you try it the wrong place, it gets awkward very, very fast.
Right. So I can't just walk into a big supermarket, grab a bunch of bananas, walk to the register and say, I'll give you 50 cents for these.
No, definitely not. If you go to a department store, a big chain supermarket, or in, a shopping mall, the price is what we call fixed.
Fixed. So you can't change it.
You cannot change it. The cashier doesn't even have the authority to change it. If you try, they will just look at you like you're crazy.
Exactly. They would probably call security.
They might.
So if the malls and supermarkets are out, where are the best places to flex these negotiation muscles?
The best places are markets, specifically flea markets.
I love that term, flea markets.
Yeah.
It is a funny visual for anyone taking notes. That's Flea, like the tiny insect.
Yes. Flea markets are these wonderful outdoor markets selling used, vintage, or handmade goods. The whole atmosphere there is just built for negotiation.
So those are perfect.
Perfect for haggling. Also, antique fairs.
Antique fairs,
Sure.
right. Those are usually a bit more upscale, places selling old, valuable items, maybe furniture or collectibles.
Correct. And don't forget garage sales or yard sales. People selling things right out of their homes. And here's a little nuance. Sometimes you can even haggle in independent boutiques.
Interesting. You mean like small shops owned by one person?
Exactly. If the owner is standing right there behind the counter, they have the power to make a decision. If you're buying a lot of items, they might be open to a discussion.
But you have to read the room.
You have to read the room.
Okay, so small shops or outdoor markets are the safe zones. That makes a lot of sense. Now, before we get into the words, I want to ask about the mindset.
Hmm.
What's the vibe or the feeling of haggling? Is it a fight? Is it like a confrontation?
Oh no, it is definitely not a fight. If you treat it like a battle, you've already lost. You should think of it as a social game.
A game. I like that framing. It lowers the
It
stakes.
does, it's a dance.
Yeah.
If you're serious or aggressive or angry, you will lose. The seller will just shut down.
Hmm.
Key advice here. If you smile and remain friendly, you are much more likely to get a better deal. People want to help people they like.
Being nice literally pays off. Okay, so we know where to go and we know we need to be smiling. Now let's talk about how to start.
The opening move.
Yes, we're at the flea market. We see something we like, maybe a vintage lamp. What do we say?
Well, first, let me tell you what not to say. This is a very common mistake.
Okay.
Do not immediately ask, can you make it cheaper?
Really? That seems like the most direct question. Why not?
It is direct, but it sounds a little too blunt. It puts the seller on the defensive immediately. It's just not very polite to start that way.
You haven't built any connection yet.
None at all.
Okay, that is good to know. We don't want to be blunt. So, how should we test the water? What are some better opening phrases?
A great simple way to start, after you said hello, of course, is just to ask, how much are you asking for this?
How much are you asking for this? I like that phrasing. Asking for implies that the price isn't set in stone.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It implies there's an asking price and maybe a selling price, and they might be different. It just starts a conversation.
I like that.
Another very useful phrase, if there is already a price tag on the item, is to ask, is the price firm?
Ooh, that is a good word. Firm. Firm.
Yes. In this context, firm just means fixed or non-negotiable.
So if I ask, is the price firm? I'm politely asking if they're willing to change the price without actually demanding a discount yet.
Exactly. It's a soft opener. You're showing them you want to negotiate, but you're being very polite about it.
And what if they say yes?
If they say, yes, I'm afraid it is firm, then you know not to push. But usually they'll say something like, well, I could take a little off.
I love that. It's a safe way to check the temperature of the negotiation.
Hmm.
Do you have one more for us? Maybe something a bit more direct?
Yes, you can ask, what's your best price on this?
What's your best price on this? That puts the ball in their court, doesn't it?
It does. It invites them to bid against themselves. Instead of you suggesting a lower price, you're asking them to give you a discount immediately.
And they often will.
Often they'll drop the price by 10% just to answer that question.
That is a powerful question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've opened the conversation. We know the price isn't firm. Now we need some strategies to actually lower the price effectively.
Mm-hmm. Bundle. Or you could call it the multi-buy.
This has got to be the easiest way to get a discount, right? It just feels so logical.
Oh, definitely. It's pure economics. The concept is simple.
Yeah.
You buy more than one item, so the seller gives you a better price because the total sale is higher.
It's a win-win. So let's role play this to see how it sounds.
Okay.
Let's say I'm at a stall and I see two shirts I really like. They're marked at $20 each. What do I say?
You could hold them both up and say, I really like both of these. Would you take $30 for the pair?
Would you take $30 for the pair? I see. The pair, meaning the two things together. So instead of paying 40, I am offering 30.
Correct. You're offering less per item, but you are guaranteeing the sale of 2 items. Or if you're buying even more, let's say souvenirs for your family, you could say, if I buy 3, could you give me a bit of a discount?
If I buy 3, could you give me a bit of a discount? That is very clear. It's a conditional offer. If I do this, will you do that?
And sellers actually love this strategy.
They do. I would have thought they'd prefer to sell everything at full price. Why do they love it?
Because of inventory. They
Ah,
want to move inventory. They have to pack all this stuff up at the end of the day. They want to sell as many things as possible. So, selling 3 items at a slightly lower profit is better than selling nothing at all.
that's so true.
Yeah.
No one wants to pack heavy boxes back into the van.
Not at all.
It helps them clear out their table. I love the bundle strategy because it makes me feel like I'm doing them a favor.
You sort of are. You're a volume buyer.
Okay, let's move to strategy B.
Hmm.
This one is a little more delicate. It requires a bit of acting skill, maybe. It's about pointing out a flaw.
Yes. This is when you gently mention an imperfection, a scratch, a tear, a missing part to lower the price. But, and this is crucial, you have to be so careful not to be rude.
Right. You don't want to pick up a vase and say, ew, this is ugly and broken.
No, never. That insults the seller's taste and their merchandise. You want to say that you like it, but there's a small problem that prevents you from paying full price.
Okay. So can you give us an example phrase of how to, thread that needle?
Sure. Imagine you see a wooden box, maybe a jewelry box. You love it, but it has a scratch on the lid.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, "It's beautiful, but I noticed there's a small scratch here. Would you consider $15?"
I like that. You started with a compliment. It's beautiful.
Yes. That keeps the social game friendly. It validates the item's value before you talk about the price.
And then you pointed out the work you will have to do or the defect you have to live with.
Exactly. Here's another one. Maybe you find a great vintage denim jacket, but it's missing a button on the cuff. You can say, "It's missing a button, so I'll have to fix that. Could you go any lower?"
It's missing a button, so I'll have to fix that. You're justifying the lower price logically.
Yes. You're telling the seller, "I'm happy to buy this, but I need to spend time or money fixing it, so the price should be lower to compensate me."
It's hard to argue with that logic.
It really is.
That makes perfect sense. It turns the negotiation into a rational discussion about value versus condition. Just remember to keep your tone polite.
Always polite. The moment you sneer at the item, the deal is dead.
All right, strategy C. This is what we call the budget defense.
I use this one all the time. It is my go-to move.
You too. The concept here is making the negotiation about your wallet, not about the item's value.
This is great because it removes the pressure and the potential for insult. You aren't saying the item isn't worth the money.
No.
You are just saying you don't have the money.
It's hard for a seller to argue with your bank account. They can't tell you that you actually do have the money.
Exactly.
So that's a good phrase for this.
You can say, "It's a bit out of my budget, but I could do $20 right now."
That is a very useful phrase. It makes you sound like a responsible person who has limits.
It does. It sounds honest. It puts you and the seller on the same team, trying to solve the problem of your limited budget.
And I see another phrase here that uses a really fun idiom, wiggle room.
Oh, yes. Wiggle room. I love this expression.
Let's explain that for the listeners. Wiggle. Wiggle.
To wiggle means to move a little bit back and forth, like you're trying to move your body in a tight space.
Right, like if you're stuck in a crowd, you wiggle through.
So wiggle room, metaphorically, means flexibility,
Mm.
space to move the price.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you can ask, that's a little more than I wanted to spend. Is there any wiggle room?
Is there any wiggle room? That is such a native English speaker way to ask for a discount. I love it. It sounds much less demanding than give me a discount.
It's friendly and it's casual. It implies, I want to buy this. Can you help me get that?
Okay, we've covered the basic strategies, the bundle, the flaw, and the budget. Now let's look at some advanced moves and negotiation etiquette. Because sometimes the gentle approach just doesn't work. Tell us about the ultimate power move.
The ultimate power move is the walk away.
The walk away. It sounds dramatic, like something from a movie.
It can be, but it has to be genuine. Sometimes, if the price is just too high and they won't lower it, you simply have to say thank you anyway and start walking away slowly.
And what happens psychologically when you do that?
Well, the seller suddenly realizes the deal is disappearing. They have to decide instantly, do I want this money or do I want to keep the item? And often they will call you back, okay, I can do the lower price.
So by showing you are willing to leave, you actually win the deal. It proves you aren't desperate.
Yes. But you have to be ready to actually leave if they don't call you back.
Right.
You can't walk away and then awkwardly turn around and come back 5 seconds later. That looks silly.
That is the risk. You have to be willing to lose the item. Now, on the flip side of etiquette, I want to give a warning about something called lowballing.
Oh, this is very important etiquette. This is how you offend people.
Lowballing means offering a price that is disrespectfully low.
Right. For example, if an item is marked $50 and it's clearly worth near that amount and you offer $5.
That is insulting. The seller might get angry and refuse to talk to you. They might actually tell you to leave their stall.
Exactly. It breaks the social contract. It implies you think their goods are trash.
So what's a good guideline? How do we know what's fair and what is a lowball?
A good rule of thumb is to aim for about 10 or 20% off as a starting point.
Okay.
Maybe 30% if you are buying a lot. That shows you're serious, but you're looking for a deal.
That is great advice. Don't be greedy. Negotiating is about finding a fair price, not robbing the seller.
Right. Mutual benefit.
Now, here's a tip for the modern age. Even though it's 2026 and we use our phones for everything,
Tap to pay.
we tap to pay for coffee. For the subway at flea markets, cash is king.
That is so true. Cash is king. It always has been, and likely always will be in these markets.
Why is that?
Well, sellers often prefer cash because they don't want to pay credit card processing fees. Those fees, they eat into their profits.
That makes sense. But beyond the fees, holding cash can actually help your negotiation leverage.
How so?
Well, it goes back to the budget defense. You can use the physical cash as a hard limit. You can pull out a bill and say, I've only got $20 in cash.
Oh, that is clever. It combines the budget defense with the convenience of cash.
Exactly. If you are waiving the $20 bill, it's real money. They might just take it because it's easy and immediate.
That is a very practical tip. And it prevents you from overspending, too. If you only bring $50 to the market, you can only spend $50.
Well, talking about all of this, the cash, the thrill of the hunt reminds me of my favorite haggling success story.
Oh, do tell. I love hearing about good finds. What was your best deal?
It was a few years ago at a flea market in London, actually. I found this beautiful vintage watch. Just
Oh, I
gorgeous.
love vintage watches. They have so much character.
They do. It was marked at $100. That was a fair price, but it was a bit more than I wanted to spend.
Okay.
So I used the flaw strategy we talked about. I noticed the leather strap was a little worn out and cracking.
Good start. You had a tangible reason for a discount.
And I was friendly.
Yeah.
I smiled. We talked about watches for a while, built some rapport. I didn't rush it. And eventually I asked, "What is your best price, considering I will need to replace the strap?"
What did he say?
I got it for $50, half price.
Wow. That is amazing. That is a massive discount.
It was. And honestly, the best part wasn't just saving the $50, it was the satisfaction of the deal. I felt like a pro. I felt connected to the history of the watch and the seller.
That really highlights the core philosophy of haggling, doesn't it?
What's that?
That it should be fun for both people. It's not just a transaction, it's an interaction.
Absolutely.
If you get a deal, great, you feel happy. But if not, if the price is too high and you walk away, you still had a great conversation with a local person. You shared a moment.
That is the best attitude to have.
Yeah.
It makes travel so much more interesting. It transforms shopping from a passive activity into an active cultural experience.
It really does. You learn the stories behind the objects, and you improve your English skills in a real world, high pressure, but fun environment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I have had so much fun discussing these tips with you today. I feel like I'm ready to go find some treasures.
Me too. It makes me want to go to a flea market this weekend and see what I can find.
I know, right? I hope our listeners are ready to try these phrases on their next trip.
Definitely.
Don't be afraid to speak up, ask for a discount, just see what happens.
I am sure they will do great. Remember to smile, use those phrases, and have fun with it.
Yes, definitely. Well, that brings us to the end of our episode.
Please don't forget to subscribe and catch our next episode on the Vivid English podcast.
Yes, we have lots more great topics coming up to help you master the language. Thank you so much for listening, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.